Welcome to Kiss the Reviews. I'm Armando. That's Corey. And today we're doing 1987's Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. Before we get started, if you want to follow me or Corey on Twitter, you can follow me at Junior D's. You can follow Corey at Corey_Idol. And if you want to follow the show, you could follow us on Twitter, Instagram, and TikTok at Kiss the Reviews.
Punish us.
Punish us on social media, please. Well, let's get into the fun of it all, and let's get into the cast of Silent Night, Deadly Night 2. This film stars Eric Freeman as Ricky Caldwell, James Newman as Dr. Henry Bloom, Elizabeth Kaitan as Jennifer, and Jean Miller as Mother Superior. I know we typically don't shit on actors and actresses. It's a tough enough job. Most 99.9% of them out there can do a better job at acting in a film than I ever could dream of. But the other star of this movie that is not mentioned in the cast is Eric Freeman's eyebrows. This dude's eyebrows do so much acting in this movie. They're constantly fluttering.
I would say they're the only ones trying.
And listen, I know this is a cult classic, and I know it's campy, for lack of a better term. I haven't found another word for this movie. And you and I, especially me, I won't lump you into my bullshit that's going on in my head. But I do like some campy horror movies.
Mm-hmm.
But when I watch some of these, we'll call them campy horror films, not to get serious, but I kind of see when I watch them the intent of the writer, the director. And I don't know if this was intentionally written to be campy, but it didn't seem like that to me. Unless it was all tongue-in-cheek. But
yeah, I'll be perfectly honest with you. One of our more horror intelligent friends will have to tell us in the comments. But I'm not entirely sure if a movie back then was written campy or it just became that way because people sort of liked it as a guilty pleasure kind of movie. And we're like, it's campy and fun. And it's like, yeah, that's just another word for not good. Most of the time.
Yeah, exactly. But dude, let's get into this because there's a lot to unwrap with this movie. So the film starts off on Christmas Eve as Ricky is sitting in an interrogation room. Dr. Henry Bloom walks in. He orders the orderly to leave the room. Ricky loses his shit immediately in what I would call the most white way possible. And I know it was 87. I understand that. A lot of times when we watch movies, you know, you have the 2023 hat on and you're like, okay, let me take this off. It's 1987. But even in 87, and I was a young kid back then, I never used the term pencil neck for any reason whatsoever. That wasn't even in my vocabulary. That seems like a very 1950s phrase, or if you were a wrestler in the WWF at the time.
Yeah, that was definitely a WWF thing in the 80s for sure. And I totally agree with you. I mean, I think I have literally been called every name that could possibly be called to somebody that's not good in almost every language on the planet. And I've never been called a pencil neck. So I'm going to go ahead and say that is definitely outdated. And before we go much further, I think this is a very important PSA.
Corey's Life Lessons.
Hi, Shrinks. Uncle Corey here. So, you gotta interview the mass murderer killer guy on Christmas Eve. And it just so happens he's got an entire past revolving around Christmas. And that's when the murder spree goes on. And that's when his brother did a murder spree. And that's when his parents got killed. Maybe wait till January 3rd. Just saying, you can push that one off. The courts aren't working during the holidays anyway. What's the rush?
Exactly.
You need to pump your brakes and let this dude cool him and his eyebrows all the way down.
Dr. Bloom then asks Ricky who killed his parents. And he says Santa Claus. And then he gets into his story. And we flash back to 1971. Ricky was a baby. And while his parents are driving, they stop to help a dude dressed as Santa. And he murders both of his parents and leave him and his brother Billy to die in the cold.
That's pretty accurate. In the first one, the Santa searches for Billy, but he can't find him. And so he like Gucci goose to Ricky, and then like it just kind of ends. And then they're at the orphanage.
Yeah, and then they go to the orphanage, which, by the way, these like you want to talk about giving somebody PTSD.
I knew it.
This whole section of the like here to the end, this whole section of the movie gave me severe PTSD with the nuns. Mother Superior here. I had one of those in my, it wasn't, she wasn't referred to as Mother Superior, but she was just one of the sisters. But there was a lot of like, oh, this is so familiar to me. And I never wanted somebody in a movie to die so badly. The payoff is great, but yeah, we'll call it trigger. I was triggered from here to the end.
And that's why I didn't want you to have to endure the first one, because Mother Superior obviously makes it through that one unscathed, even though there is the attempt. So I knew this would be triggering for you, so I wanted you to at least have the release of, decapitation to follow.
Yeah. Dig it, and I appreciate that. So
Merry Christmas, buddy.
We then get into Ricky's story, and he talks about him and his brother going to the orphanage, St. Mary's Orphanage. Him and his brother were raised by nuns, which is never a good thing. And we get the scene of Billy, who is Ricky's older brother, walking down the hall in his Ron DeSantis boots, and he sees two people banging in a room, and he's looking through the keyhole, and Mother Superior comes in and whips the two people with a belt, and then whips Billy for leaving his room. And I got some questions here. It is never addressed, or maybe it is, and I was just so like confused and triggered and whatever with the Mother Superior of it all. Who the fuck are these two people? Like, at first I was like, is it a nun? And then I was like, well, are they two kids? But they look like they're in their 20s. So I'm like, there's no, and dude needs to go see a doctor because he's got some moles on his back that need taken care of. Like, and at the end of this, Mother Superior takes out the belt and just starts whipping a grown-ass man. You're whipping a grown-ass man. I am sorry, but that dude is going to punch that nun harder than Billy does here in a couple of scenes, punches Santa Claus in the fucking face.
You were correct.
You don't fuck with somebody right before they're getting ready to fuck. That's how you catch this real fast. You're going to catch some hands to the fucking face real goddamn fast. And there's nothing more, even if you are like Mother Superior, there is nothing more emasculating than having a dude with a rock hard cock just wholesale whooping your ass. It's not a good look.
You were right.
We then get the Billy and Santa scene here right after this, where this scene, again, questions. Because Mother Superior, like, forces him onto Santa's lap because, I don't know, he's naughty or he doesn't want to see Santa. So she's like forcing him to see Santa. And then he gets so triggered in this situation that he punches Santa so hard that he actually punches him harder than Cuba Gooding Jr. got punched in Gladiator out of the ring. Like, he's what, 8 at this point, and he punches Santa out of his throne onto the floor.
Yes. And this, kids, is why you respect everybody's wishes, even if they celebrate Hanukkah.
Absolutely. I mean, Billy's got some actually, both of these dudes have some superpowers. I'm just going to say.
No, they really do. Billy showcases his strength. Like, when he grows up in the first movie, he is massive. Like, this dude's built like fucking John Cena. And he showcases it throughout his kills in the first movie.
Yeah.
So they do make a point of making him very strong. However, I'm with you. As an 8-year-old, he sent this cat flying through the air. Like he got a roundhouse from JCVD.
Yeah, not for nothing. If I'm one of these nuns, I'm like, yeah, okay, we need a nun meeting, y'all. Nun meeting. We're not fucking with this kid. Just FYI. Like, he already saw his parents get murked. He saw his mom almost get raped. Obviously, Christmas is a sensitive topic and a sensitive holiday for this young man. He obviously has Superman-like powers. So let's just go ahead and not fuck with him and just let him do whatever he wants.
Well, as you know, Mother Superior is not about that.
No.
She's all about discipline, and she's
being
going
naughty.
to force feed him Santa Claus, whether he fucking likes it or not.
Yes.
Because the other nun throughout the first movie, the one that is involved in this one trying to find Ricky, in the first movie, she's like constantly telling Mother Superior, like, he's clearly got trauma from what happened. She's like, he doesn't know what happened. How could he?
So the nuns then get an 18-year-old Billy a job at a toy store as a Santa Claus. And Billy goes in the back area. He sees a coworker almost get raped. He murders the dude. The chick gets pissed, so he stabs her. The owner, the manager, whatever, comes back. Billy gives him a claw hammer to the skull. And then he takes a bow and kills the last employee that's there. And side note, I don't know if you saw this or not, but when Billy's walking into the back, like, storage room or whatever, again, you talk about memories and triggering. There's on the wall, there's the plastic masks with like the plastic bag costumes with the little slit where you tongue the slit the entire time you had the mask on. It was like Bugs Bunny and I forget the other ones, but can we just touch on how shitty costumes were in the 80s growing up? Like, now you have elaborate costumes where, kids look like the characters in these movies and cartoons and whatever. And back then they were like, here's a painted plastic bag to slip over your head. And here's this mask with lead paint on it. Go ahead and fucking tongue the mask all goddamn day and sniff these fumes. Good luck, kid. Happy Halloween.
And that, sir, is why Gen Xers are amazing at cunnilingus.
Hell yes.
So Billy then becomes the boner killer bandit, apparently. And if there's a boner to be found, he'll find it and he'll stop it immediately. And he goes on this like bloody trail of murders where in this movie, it's like, okay, there's a lot of like rapey going on. And it's like, oh, okay, he's murdering people, but it's for a good cause. But we get to the murder of the guy and the girl getting ready to have very consensual sex.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like, okay, can we discern between like, this is bad and this is good? But he doesn't discern between everything's naughty. The minute there's skin involved, it's naughty time and you must be punished.
Yeah, and this is where I have a problem with the reality of the plot, because as a child, he saw two strangers having sex, consensual sex through the keyhole, right?
Yeah.
Everybody knows the only time you become like a sexual like killer, like, sex is triggering me and I like nut when I kill people, is when you see your parents having sex. not just randos. So this is my problem with the writing in this movie. He should have seen his parents getting fucked, and then he would have been like, oh my God, I can't handle this. And then he goes off. But this is just totally unrealistic, and I'm not into it.
Welcome to Corey's TED Talk. About the motivations of serial killers.
Yeah. Oh, I know them all.
And the
Believe me.
psychology of it all. Everybody's on the lookout. We get the murder of the two sledders here in the middle of the woods on Christmas Eve. And then the cops go to the orphanage because they believe that, you know, Billy is going to the orphanage to kill Mother Superior. And they see a Santa Claus. One cop sees a Santa Claus walking towards the orphanage and just opens fire into dude's back. Doesn't get a look at him. Doesn't call Bill, doesn't walk up and tackle him. He's just like, you know what? It's fucking go time. I'm just shooting this dude in the back.
Yeah, and again, we know this is completely unrealistic because police will always check to make sure the suspect is white before they open fire.
Yes, they show how they typically handle these situations later on in the movie.
Exactly.
So he opens fire, he kills a rando Santa Claus that's just visiting the kids at the orphanage. And the cop then investigates the building. He gets an axe to the gut from Billy because it's punish time. And Billy then enters the orphanage and goes to give Mother Superior the axe to the head. And he's shot by another cop who enters. And you want to talk about boner killer time? Like, I was so excited to see Mother Superior take an axe just to the forehead. And then he gets shot right before doing it. And I'm like, I was this close. I was this close.
Now, this is where if I were a movie-going person in the 80s, I would have lost my mind paying money to sit through another 45 minutes recapping the fucking movie I saw last year and paid money for. Kiss my ass, hire a narrator and sum this shit up.
Yes.
This was bullshit. I was so mad because I broke protocol. I hadn't seen either of these in so epically long. I was like, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to watch the first movie. And I watched it earlier in the week and I was getting ready to go and feeling good about watching the second one. And the second one starts and 45 minutes later, I'm like, I wasted so much fucking time.
So after his brother gets murdered, Ricky then goes to live with the Rosenbergs, who definitely don't do Christmas because they're Jewish and stuff. And 5 years later, everything seems to be going well, but his stepfather dies. And guess what? That hit him pretty hard. Can I touch on something? I don't know Eric Freeman from anybody, right? He could be walking down the street right now in front of my house and I wouldn't have any idea who it was.
Mm-hmm.
With that said, I've never heard interviews with him. I've never heard him talk. But is he doing a voice? Is he doing Justin Long before Justin Long did Justin Long? Because this scene, and literally almost for the rest of the movie, he goes in and out of it just a little bit, but mostly he's in. And he's like, and guess what? And there's a lot of, and again, I know we don't talk about shots and things, but there's a lot of like him in the camera, like face fucking the camera throughout this. When they cut back to him and the doctor discussing things, and then he's got the, because he's a cool guy, so he's got the chair turned around. He's just kind of on the deal.
Yep.
But his voice is goddamn ridiculous, and I don't know if that was an actor's choice or if that was the director.
Corey's life lessons.
Hi, Hollywood. Uncle Corey here. So you saw a guy in community theater doing Rebel Without a Cause really well. That's great. That does not mean he is ready for this. coach him along, get him some commercials, yada yada, see if he can get there. But this dude was not fucking ready. And I don't even mean like we're just acting. I mean like in this movie, everyone around him who are not amazing actors are acting the shit out of him. Like he is getting beat down. Like his name is Colby Covington. He looks like shit. So I don't understand why people go this way unless Eric Freeman wrote this, produced it, and decided also to direct it. This was just a bad move.
Yeah.
And this is typically what leads your movies into like the culty, campy cult classics. Like, I love this because I'm weird and I want to show how much I love horror. And I'm weird, man. It's quirky. Fuck off. You're the Zoe Deschanel of horror. And it's bullshit.
We then hear cut to Ricky going on a walk by himself in the wilderness and taking in the outdoors, and he witnesses an attempted rape, and then he goes into naughty mode and he murders the guy by driving the dude's own Jeep over him 400 times, over and back and over and back. And this time, unlike, Billy in the toy store scene, this girl is like, "Hey, thanks, guy." And she
the only
off.
one.
Yes.
The only one that says thank you. I'm like, was that so hard? I know you're not asking for help, and I don't think anybody needs to throw a parade for somebody that kills a rapist because that should be standard practice.
Yes.
But at the same time, like, the first chick called Billy like a pig and a piece of shit, and it's like, dude, what did I do wrong?
Naughty.
His mom then couldn't send him to college, so he got a job, a string of shitty jobs, and at his job, he sees a dude getting beat up by a bookie. So Billy sees his red hanky, and it sends him into a rage, so he murders the bookie with an umbrella, 'cause naughty. Like the whole Billy, Ricky, naughty, punish, Justin Long of it all of that drove me fucking batty the whole movie.
Naughty.
But I did like this kill because two things. You have him jack the bookie up on the wall, showing his super strength. And okay, I'll throw this out there. Anytime you see a guy and he's got the bicep vein, he's super strong. I was just going to throw that out there. And
we are.
Ricky's bicep vein is like this big around. Like, he is enraged here.
Dude, his bicep vein looks like my bicep.
But he jacks him up, so he shows the superpower here. And then the umbrella through the gut, and then it opening on the back end is it's just great. Like, this is the one scene I really respected. I was like, dig that kill. Anything like that is pretty awesome.
And I think that is probably the only thing that makes campy movies, especially campy horror movies like this, worth watching, is the kills are always fun and innovative, and most of the time you'll laugh at them.
Yeah, they're because they are creative.
They're a lot of fun. Whereas, most of your standard horrors, your Halloween, Scream, yada yada, they have some good kills, but for the most part, it's a knife.
Yeah, exactly.
That's it. It's the brutality of the knife, but other than that, that's it.
Yep.
So this is the only reason, in my opinion, to watch a campy horror movie is the fun, innovative kills. Like Chopping Mall. Chopping Mall has some of the craziest fucking kills I've ever seen in my life. Movie's fucking garbage.
Yeah.
But the kills are great. So
yep. No, that's what I respect about movies like this, because they always get super creative with it. But Ricky then starts talking about Jennifer, his one true love. And after the worst sex scene I have ever seen on film, we then get Ricky and Jennifer in the movie theater where there's a dude in a red shirt being obnoxious. And then Jennifer's ex, Chip, shows up. And while Chip is talking to Jennifer, Ricky kills the obnoxious dude in the back of the theater and like the obnoxious dude's friend. And I wasn't really paying attention to the obnoxious dude, okay? Because at the end of the day, this is what we want to do to all the obnoxious dudes in the movie theater. I was paying attention to the old couple that were sitting between Ricky and Jennifer and the obnoxious dude in the back. First of all, this movie theater had 15 seats in it. Let's acknowledge that. And they weren't even acknowledging either one of these people. They weren't acknowledging Ricky. They weren't acknowledging the dudes in the back. They were there to watch the film. And that's all they paid attention to the whole time.
Yes. And like you, I was distracted because the movie they're watching is the first movie.
You were right.
So I don't know what metaverse we've dipped into here. I don't know if Ricky's phasing between realities or what's happening. But all of a sudden, we put a Marvel spin on this shit, and I don't know what's going on.
Exactly. Well, and here's the other thing, too. And I got to do a quick don't do that.
Don't do that, it's not good for you.
Hi, moviegoers. So you want to go see a movie. You want to take your girlfriend or your boyfriend. Just check out the trailer before you go. Especially around Christmas time. If you know it's Christmas time, there's Christmas movies and red shirts and red cars and red anything, hankies and things set you off to where you want to go on a murder spree, you should probably stay away from any movie. Oh, and Santa Claus. Stay away from movies with Santa Claus in them. Don't do what Ricky does here. And then like after the previews, he's like, hey, what's this movie about? Well, first of all, you're watching your life story or your brother's life story on fucking film. But second of all, you could probably notice by the cover of the movie that it's a Christmas-themed horror film. So when she tells you, oh, it's about a guy who dresses up as Santa Claus and goes and murders people, you're not taken aback. Like, oh my God, this could be triggering. Just do some research a little bit. We don't do any here. But do a little bit of research before you go watch these films, just to see what it's about and if you're going to be into it.
Yeah, if nothing else, you would have found out that somebody made a movie literally about your life, and you're getting nothing for it.
Sometime later, Ricky and Jennifer run into Chip while he's fixing his car on the street, because in the 80s, that was a thing. You just fixed your car randomly in the street. And Ricky kills Chip after Chip tells him that he fucked Jennifer in the back of old Red here. And of course, it's a red car, so that's triggering. And Ricky also thought that Jennifer was a virgin. And now that he knows she's not, he's angry and he's got to kill people. So he kills, again, very creative kill here. He takes the jumper cables, puts them in the mouth, and electrocutes Chip here. And then,
this was the kill I had been waiting for. Because fuck Chip.
Oh, hey, fuck you.
Yeah, he had this weird greaser / Leif Garrett look to him, and I was not down for any of it. But
no, I wanted him to be punished very badly.
Yes, and so you must have been really happy because Ricky goes punish monster here all over the place. He kills Chip. He then kills Jennifer because she tells Ricky that she hates him. So he's just like, cool, I'll strangle you with the fucking radio antenna from the car. And Barney Fife then shows up to arrest Ricky. And Ricky tables the turns and shoots Barney in the head.
Don't do that, it's not good for you.
Hi, actors, directors, anybody on set, a key grip that might have a cool idea for a film. If you're shooting a scene and the cop holds his gun like Barney Fife does here, I get what you're trying to do with the scene. And he is Barney Fife-ish, like that's what you're going for. But can you have him hold the revolver just like a guy? just not even like a cop. I'm not even asking for that. Don't do that. He's like his wrist is all cocked and like he's almost holding it straight up at him. And don't get that close just as a cop, because you might get the turns tabled and now the gun's on you. And, you know, you get shot in the head like Barney Fife does in this scene.
Yeah, I've actually really enjoyed going back with some of these older horror films and seeing the origin of the dumb cop.
Yes.
Because they are a staple in almost every horror film. There is one dumb cop, and usually if there's an investigation of some sort, there's one, you know, dedicated smart officer trying to figure it out. But for the most part, the cops in all of these movies are dumb as fuck. So going back to movies like Black Christmas with Nash, this guy, and Silent Night, Deadly Night, it's so fun to see how long that has actually been a trope in these films.
Oh, it's been like that forever.
Everything Armando said is true. If I ever see anybody holding their gun like that, I'm going to slap the piss out of you. And I can do it because you definitely aren't shooting me with your gun held like that. So don't fuck around with that shit. You know how to use a weapon. That being said, this was brilliant. And again, a fun, creative kill. And it leads to what can only be the standard operating procedures for police still used today in a mass shooting event. Because he turns a corner, there are 2 cars, 6 cops pointing shotguns and guns at him, telling him to freeze. He has killed countless people in this neighborhood.
Oh, he goes on a goddamn murder spree after this.
This is where we get the classic garbage day.
Garbage day! Huh? No!
Best fucking line ever. And what do the cops do? As soon as he does this, no! Slow-mo of how much they care about the white mass murderer. It's not worth it!
We'll take you to McDonald's. Are you hungry?
No! It's not worth it! Don't be a fool! Don't do it! Don't kill yourself!
After the cops show up, and, you know, Ricky puts the gun to his head. There's no bullets in the gun. Then we cut back to present day. We're in the little room with the doctor and Ricky. And Ricky walks out of the room after killing Dr. Henry. And then he escapes the station somehow. He finds out where Mother Superior is and goes to get her. They say here that she had a stroke. Not that she fell into toxic sludge after having said stroke. What the fuck is going on with it? She looks like a villain from fucking Spider-Man. What the fuck is going on with her face here?
She looks like the Rotten, and when he lurks, like it's happening.
Like, listen, you and I, we've had friends, family members who have had strokes, okay? I actually had a friend that I saw in the hospital literally the day after he had a stroke. He didn't have boils on his face. That's not a symptom of a stroke.
He didn't have one of the plagues of Egypt growing out of his face.
No, there was no locusts. There was no boils. Nothing.
No, this chick pissed God right the fuck off because he took advantage of that stroke and was like, here's a boil, there's a boil, here's a boil too. He just had fun playing connect the dots with one side of her face.
You were correct.
Ricky then goes to wherever Mother Superior is, and she wheels her strokey ass into the bathroom as he's trying to like chop down the door. And then she goes out the other way, but Ricky, he loves a chase. So he chases her through the house. She basically throws herself down the stairs. Ricky continues the chase, and he finally gives her an axe to the head. And this is when the police finally get there. They see Mother Superior sitting at the table, and her head pops off, and Ricky pops up from behind. He raises the axe above his head to kill the other nun, and the cops shoot him. End of movie.
Or is it?
Or is it? Ta-da.
Bum, bum, bum. I wish I had Ricky's eyebrows. I'd make him dance. But I don't. I just don't. I don't have that gift.
Or the thick bushiness of your eyebrows.
No.
This motherfucker got shrubbery above his eyes.
Oh yeah, compared to him, I'm fucking Jada. I got fucking alopecia.
I mean, I shouldn't be saying anything. I got some shit going on above my eyes, but
Not compared to Eric Freeman. Stand next to that dude in the lineup. You'll be all right.
oh my god. But again, at the end of the day, I understand this movie's campy and yada yada. I'll say this. I do like the backdrop of, evil, abusive nuns. From a personal perspective, the payoff is fantastic. And I'm so happy to see this end the way it ended. But I mean, again, I know now why, and I know I'll be like, oh, you don't respect the creativity and the drive to write a movie as good as this one and the meaning behind things. I don't give a shit. Okay, just gonna throw that out there as just a movie goer who watches a movie and goes, I like it, I don't like it. This one, just not for me. I know there's people that love this movie, but not for me.
Yeah, I prefer my camp to be more in the Slumber Party Massacre realm, where it's I know this is such a coke-fueled production that it's just going to be wild and terrible, and I'm on board. You know what I mean? Like, Cocaine wrote that script. Cocaine took those shots with the camera. Cocaine called cut on every fucking scene. Like, that's just what happened. And I am with it because I know that's what happened.
Yes.
I know there's going to be tits, there's going to be blood, and it's all cocaine in the background.
Yep.
Home free. This, it's like we tried really hard, but also I offered my lead actor a Whopper meal. So this is the best I could get.
Yeah, if I like movies that like when the campy, if I can picture Towley and Randy Marsh writing the script, then I'll kind of like it a little bit more. Like this one was just there was other drugs involved that I don't approve of.
No, this was some like. In all honesty, like some sexual sadist has some real issues, and this was written before therapy was actually a cool thing to do.
Exactly.
So they're like, I'm just going to write my feelings. And everybody's like, stop writing your feelings, psycho. Go see a shrink.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, it's not for me. If you like this movie or you like it for the campiness or you like it for whatever, a scene or two that's really cool. Cool. For me, again, not for me. I probably, unless we get paid again to do a movie like this or this movie, I probably won't watch it again.
Yeah, no.
There's so I watched this on Shudder again, but there's 1,000 other movies on Shudder. Like I literally now have a list that's probably about 20 movies long at this point that I need to get through on Shudder. This is not even in that top 20 or 30 that I would revisit later.
No, not at all. Not even remotely close. So, I could do without this. And like I said, I'll go back and watch Black Christmas 2 weeks after I watched it before I'd sit down and watch this in another year or 5 or 10. I just don't care.
Yep. Same.
I felt like I was being punished.
You were being punished because you were a naughty boy. You're naughty.
It's because you ripped my titty out. Now Billy and Ricky are going to come and get us.
It's naughty boner punishing time. Get ready. But that's all I got for this movie, though. Do you have anything else, Corey?
No.
Cool.
If only to get the fuck out of this uncomfortable scenario. No.
For Corey, I'm Armando. This is Kiss the Reviews, Billy. And this was 1987's Silent Night, Deadly Night 2.